4, 3, 2, 1. Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Level Up with Lydia podcast. I am your host for the day, Derek Palmer, and I work with Level Up Consulting. And we have an amazing guest here. This is Erin Berger. She is a real estate agent with Remax.
A broker with Remax, yes.
Broker, excuse me. What's the difference?
Forgive it. A broker is essentially, think of it like a master's degree in real estate. So I say anybody, and let's take that with a grain of salt. It's very easy to get your real estate agent license, but in order to become a broker, you have to be active in real estate for 4 years. You have to get so many transactions under your belt and so many credits, continuing education credits, which is, if I remember right, it was something like 675 hours worth of continuing education. Now, I have a master's degree, so I was able to get rid of some of that, but it's essentially like having a master's degree in real estate.
What's your master's in?
International relations.
Really?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
Graduate was Norwich University in Vermont. Undergrad was Sam Houston up here in Huntsville.
Wow. I've known you for almost a year and I didn't know any of that. So that's cool. Tell us about your journey. How did you end up? Real estate is I think you hit the nail right on the head. There's a lot of people that claim to be in real estate, and then there's people who are actually in real estate. Yep. And I think that makes sense. And I appreciate you correcting me with the whole broker thing, because that is it's a distinction.
It is, yeah.
And so tell us how you got from where you started. You are obviously formally educated and ended up in real estate.
Yeah. I did the formal education route. I went and got my undergrad, hopped into an IT job right out of college. As I was doing all of this, I was also working for a real estate investment company that flipped houses. I was doing everything from running comps and helping to float drywall and painting cabinets and kind of coordinating vendors and contractors on the side, along with doing my IT role for a really, really long time. So when it came to the point in my career when I kind of went, I don't really want to keep working for somebody else. I want to work for myself. It was a very natural and probably very overdue transition to going ahead and getting my actual license and moving forward that way. So I've been licensed now for 5 years and officially became a broker last year. About this time last year. It's been about 12 months.
So what do you do for your client that separates you from other real estates? There's a lot of real estate agents out there. What's a differentiation between you and them?
It's funny you ask that, because this week, actually I think it was 2 days ago, that I looked up how many agents were currently licensed in the Houston area.
50,000.
50,000. Little over 50,000 are members of HAR. Now, that does not include anybody who's licensed and their license is inactive. If they don't currently have their license hung somewhere, they're not going to show up in HAR. So there's probably more than that, but that also means that they're not producing, they're not working.
Yeah, 20,000 quit after the COVID bubble.
Right. No, it's crazy. And the fact that there's 50,000, and when you ask like what separates me, on a very, very basic level, I answer the phone. I can't tell you how many times I will try to make a showing request at a house, or just trying to get information on a property, and I can't get the other agent on the phone. Sometimes it is next to impossible. And I do a lot of deals with, I have a couple of clients that work in land, and that's all they do is land development. Getting this is so terrible the way that I was about to phrase this, but it's the truth. The farther outside of Houston you go, into these smaller communities, the harder it is to get a hold of people. And I've got people who want to pay cash for a piece of vacant property, and getting the agent on the phone to get the information in order to fill out the offer sometimes is next to impossible. And it'll take me 2 or 3 weeks to get an offer that I should have been able to do 3 weeks ago and make everybody happy. So, from a very, very basic level, answering the phone sometimes is all it takes to set me apart, which is setting the bar so low. But that's the industry that we're in.
It seems as though the most basic things are often the things that are the most ignored in business.
Yeah.
And answering the phone, while it seems just basic 101, I experienced the same thing. I sat at a conference once and had somebody ask, it was a group full of business owners in the trades.
Yeah.
And he asked, hey, who's answering your phone for you today in your business? And everybody had an answer of some variety, right? And he picked 4 people randomly out and called their business, and all 4 of them went to voicemail. And that scared the hell out of
Oh my
me,
God.
right?
That gives me
Because
anxiety.
it does. But I think Barack Obama says it best. If you want to get ahead in this world, the first thing you do is show up.
Yeah.
And that it's crazy that the first distinction you're able to separate is just being able to show up. Like
Yep.
that's wild. So go backwards. You started off hanging drywall, doing all this stuff, and then you decided to venture down the real estate route.
Yeah.
Why? What made you want to do this?
I think I've got some screws loose, honestly. Like it just, I don't know. It was something that, I mean, I've always been told, like, if you're going to go off on your own, you do what you know. Don't do something like, I've never worked in restaurants. So if me opening up a restaurant would never work because I know nothing about it. I would have to have so much capital and so much funding and so many other people who have the expertise under me in order to make that work that I would probably go broke before it even got off the ground. Real estate was something that I'd been heavily involved in for 15 years prior and was very, very familiar with it. So going off on my own in that respect was a very easy transition and it was something that I already had expert level knowledge in without actually being licensed. So getting the license was the last step that I really needed. And I think a lot of agents, and I don't want to ever speak for other agents, especially the ones that I know individually, but by and large, people who get into real estate don't realize that they have to treat it like a business. And that goes back to, they think that, they're going to get licensed and hang their license with a broker and suddenly their phone is going to start ringing. They don't realize that they have to market themselves, that they have to network, that they have to go out and find the clients. It doesn't just come to them. And I think that's where so many people end up failing. And that kind of goes back to the accountability and the showing up is this is your business. You have to treat it as such. And if you don't, you're not going to get anywhere. So there's no surprise that like 92% of agents fail out in the first 2 years.
So what would you say the whole goal of Lydia's podcast, and I'm really thankful that Lydia let me host this one because I've been excited to have you on the show. What would you say is some things that if I was shopping for a real estate agent to sell my house, what are some key points that I should be even looking at? Because with a market saturation of 50 to 60,000 real estate agents, it's, in the trades, I ask people, do you have a real estate agent? And everybody says they have a real estate agent, but, that's like everybody has a photographer, right?
Yeah.
Just because you have an iPhone doesn't mean you're a photographer, right? And so what would you tell our audience is the top 3 things that they should be looking for when hiring their next real estate agent?
One of the things that most people don't realize is that anybody who's licensed in the state of Texas, you can go out and search their license and search for see if they have any, oh my gosh, and now I'm blanking on the term that TREC uses. Anyway, you can go to TREC, Texas Real Estate Commission website, plug in my name, Erin Berger, into the broker search. It'll pull up my license number. It'll pull up if I'm active. It'll pull up if I've ever had any grievances brought against me. It'll bring up my entire education. So you can search. If you're interviewing agents, you can go out there and search that. That's all public record. It's all free to search. So if I'm saying that I'm a broker with RE/MAX and I've done this, that, and the other, you can go double check me and make sure that I'm not lying to you. So I tell people to go ahead and do that. Make sure there's no big grievances because you can see if there's been any lawsuits brought against agents. You can ask, and if there are, ask questions. Interview multiple. I realize that I'm not the only one in Houston. 2, even if I was, I don't have the capacity to help everybody because I would go crazy and nobody would get the level of service that they need. So interview multiple. If you're talking to somebody who is a one-man show, which there are a lot of us, and that's okay, make sure that they don't have 15 listings already that they're trying to juggle alone. If they have 15 listings, great and wonderful. Ask how big their team is. Ask how many people they have working for them underneath them. Do they have a transaction coordinator? Do they have an assistant, etc.? Make sure that what you're getting is the level of service that you're going to need. And I mean, this is whether you're buying or selling, it's the biggest transaction that most people do in their lifetime is buying and selling real estate. And the other thing is, I also realize that I am, like, not to use this old trope, but I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And like, you and I get along really well, which makes you and I working together a whole lot easier. If I was kind of a drab, pessimistic kind of person, you wouldn't enjoy working with me nearly as much.
Correct.
Even if I was really, really good at my job, it wouldn't be the type of experience that you were looking for, that you would be happy with. You'd be going, yeah, she sold my house, but She's just kind of very boring, bland. Like, I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy working with her. So if you enjoy work, there's enough of us out there that make sure that you're dealing with somebody that you can get along with.
I think those are really good pieces of advice. Give me a nightmare scenario that you've seen in a real estate transaction. We always are here for the tea.
Oh my God. No, I don't, there's so many. I mean, I've had everything from like deals falling apart the day of closing because the one that really comes to mind is I was selling. I don't know if anybody that is related to this transaction is going to hear this, but we'll just go for it. I was selling my college boyfriend's parents' house. And I mean, this is somebody that I haven't talked to in 20 years, but his stepmom called me and was like, hey, knew you were in real estate. Can you sell my house? It's like, sure. And it was already kind of a tricky situation because they didn't want to put it online. They didn't want to sign in the yard. They didn't want it on MLS. Like they wanted me to sell it off property or off market. And they wanted it to go as is. And there was a whole bunch of issues with the house, like known issues. So I had to find an investor. So I found an investor, brought it to him. They agreed to it. Like everything was copacetic. It was going to be all cash. Day of closing, the investor calls me and was like, I think we need to drop the price by like $30,000 or it's just not going to work. I'm like, well, sir, we're sitting at the closing table. If you're going to change things at the very last minute, like this isn't going to work for us either. Figure it out. And he ended up backing out of the transaction and then getting really, really upset that he didn't get his earnest money back. I was like, you walked away just because. It's how it works. So he was very upset. My clients were very upset to the point that I won't go into too much, but like everybody was very upset. I had
French fried you in the middle.
Yes, and I was in the middle. And fortunately, I have a roster of investors. So like same day, I called another one, got it back under contract same day with a different investor with a shorter close. And so I was able to make the phone call of, hey, we're not closing today with investor A. He backed out. Investor B is already ready to go. Sign the offer. If you guys are willing to move forward with this one, same price, we can close in 14 days versus today. And so there was a lot of emotions, a lot of chaos and a lot of panic, but what was a nightmare situation turned into a perfectly fine situation and everybody ended up happy at the end of the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like a cluster.
Yeah.
What would you say is some of the best ways for somebody to go about buying a house? Like, should they do a pre-approval first? Like, what do you recommend in that situation?
Yeah, in that situation, it's usually best you don't have to get a pre-approval. Generally, if you're going to see houses, physically going out to open up doors, it's best practices to have a pre-approval. One, because what you think you can afford may not actually be what you are pre-approved for. So if you're thinking that you can go see $400,000 houses and the lenders come back and go, nope, you're only approved for 300, that knocks you way down, unless you've just got sitting on a pile of cash somewhere, that knocks you way down out of the original price range that you were looking at. So it's really disappointing to look at a $400,000 house and then go, oh, I can't afford that by any stretch. Let's look at the 300,000. None of them are the same. So if you're going to start this process, get the pre-approval. Generally, most lenders won't do a hard credit pull for a pre-approval. They'll do a soft, so it doesn't hit your credit. And also you can check with lenders. It's either 2 or 3 lenders that you can have run your credit, and the credit reporting agencies don't ding you because it's considered shopping around for a mortgage. So you can actually go talk to multiple, look at how much they charge for the underwriting, look how much the interest rate is. Look at the closing costs. There's a whole bunch that goes into this. So it's really good to pin different lenders against each other. Take a look at it from that side too, because I've had some where it's like, if you go through Rocket Mortgage, especially directly through Rocket Mortgage, you're going to end up paying like $15,000 in closing costs that, mom and pop mortgage lender over here won't. So
Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, really, it's not just interest rate that's important. It's everything that goes into closing. So yeah, it's really the best place to start is a lender. If you've already got an agent, agents usually have really good relationships with certain lenders that they have worked with before. They know their rates. They know how, I've got some that they can get a loan on pretty much anything. It may take a little bit longer because, I work with a lot of people who own their own businesses, and have it. If you don't have a W-2, sometimes it gets tricky to get a mortgage. But I have some lenders that are like, they can do it no matter
I
what.
have some grumpy clients who have complained to me about that. They're like, I run a $3 million business and I don't have a W-2 and I have to
Yeah.
go through a prostate exam to get a house. And I'm like, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Flipping back to, being a business podcast, we want to be able to help. There's plenty of other real estate agents out here listening to you. You're a broker.
Yeah.
What's the top 2 or 3 pieces of advice that you would give a brand new real estate agent as they're coming in?
Don't be surprised when your friends and family don't support you. That was one of the really hard things for me, because I just kind of assumed that, like, I'm a very supportive person, and people that I care about, like, regardless of what they're doing in their lives, I want to be supportive of it. And a lot of people, especially if they're not business owners, 1, don't understand you going out on your own, and 2, don't understand that this is a business, and 3, like, sometimes it's really hard for them to understand that, like, their support means a lot. So don't be surprised if the support that you need doesn't come automatically.
That's for all business owners.
That
by
is
the
for
way.
all business owners. Oh my gosh, yeah. Like, people
It's a really good nugget.
people who have W-2s just don't. It's a different mindset. It's completely different. And I knowing what I know now, I understand that. But when I first started off, it was like, holy crap! Like, I would have supported anybody regardless of what they're doing.
I got to interject. I didn't realize this principle strongly. I had a guy that he's a business owner. He's been in business for 25 years. He was one of my first clients.
Yeah.
And I was a fractional general manager for him and helping him kind of restore his business and reestablish some of the lines there. And I was mean to him. I was downright fucking mean to him.
Aww.
And we have a really good relationship even now.
Yeah.
But when I was his fractional, I was really hard on him. And about 2 years into my business, he and I still kept in touch. We were done with our partnership at that point. And I was getting my ass kicked. And I was getting my ass kicked in the way he was getting his ass kicked.
Mhm.
And what I realized is there's a hell of a difference between an operator/owner
Yeah.
and an employee.
Yeah.
Right. And while I wasn't an employee, I also wasn't the owner.
Mhm.
And I went back into his office and I literally shut the door and I was like, dude, I'm really sorry. I was a total asshole to you. And it was just really interesting because he was very magnanimous, as he always is. And he was like, hey, you don't know what you don't know until you're in the seat. But you saying that really triggered that as a lesson. What else would you tell another real estate agent?
The other thing that I would tell people is network and play to your strengths. Networking is really, really important. Networking with other business owners, networking with other realtors in a lot of aspects. Networking with people. I still hang my license at a Remax office, so I am not the broker, the designated broker of the office, so I still have a broker. But she uses me as an example and has for years, that, like, when I say network, I mean everything. Like, if you go to a mixer at the Houston Museum of Natural Science, just for the, I was like about to use a terrible word, just for the fun of it.
She said she was going to say for the fuck of it.
I was.
Come on, this is the Level Up with Lydia podcast.
I was. Yeah, but for example, like, go to those mixers, use that as a networking event. Yes, you're going to have fun, but you're also among several thousand people that could potentially be your clients. Get out there and talk to people. So when I say network,
answer your phone.
Yeah. I don't mean just go to networking business events. I mean, get out into the community and network with the community, because at the end of the day, they are your end user. And the other thing that I would say oh my gosh, what was it? I just said it. What did I say? I said network, and then there was something else.
Get out in the community.
No, shit. What did I say? I said network, and then I said something else. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to go back and read it. Or
Run the
listen to
tape
it.
back.
Yeah, because it was important. Now, like, I got caught up and I was like, I want to go to the Houston Museum of Natural Science now, because I use that as an example.
Squirrel.
Yeah, shiny thing, disco ball.
Well, if it comes to you, interrupt.
Yeah.
No, that's really good feedback. What are some pitfalls that you've experienced and some failures that you've had on your real estate journey that you've been able to learn from or turn into success?
You jogged my memory. It was play to your strengths. Because in that regard, like, when I first got into real estate, you talk to other agents who are seasoned, everybody is going to tell you what worked for them.
Mm.
And it is different across the board. So, and what I should have known back then and didn't play into was my strengths. I was listening to, Agent A, who was like, oh, cold calling is the best thing that you can do. Cold call for 8 hours a day. Make sure that you're making 150 phone calls every single day. You might get two or three leads out of that. And one, that is not my strength. I am not great over the phone. Like, I'm really direct and to the point if you and I are already working together, but over the phone, I'm not great. I don't enjoy it. I don't want to spend 8 hours on the day. So yes, that may have worked for Agent A. It's not going to work for me. And I wasted time trying to do that.
As a guy who is a face for radio, I resonate with why the cold calling would work. So I'm Agent A.
Yeah, exactly. But again, like strengths.
Yep.
Like my strength is being here. My strength is being in front of people. So and it also just never really resonated well with me to like spend 8 hours calling people only to get 2 leads out of that. Like the time value there just wasn't worth it for me. I mean, I'm somebody who I have volunteer work. I have a family. I have things that I'm doing that I needed my lead generation to cost less. I needed it to cost less time. I needed it to cost less money, etc. And again, playing into my strengths, like I'm better in person. So if I can get out there and do a 2-hour networking where I may make 3 or 4 leads because I'm really good at talking to people in person, that is a better use of my time and my skills than sitting on the phone for 8 hours. So it's play into your strengths. If you know you're not good on the phone, skip the cold calling and move on. And also continue to get creative. Like that was something that I failed at originally. It was just, I thought that I had to do things the way that people had done it for years in the industry. And it just like, put your face in the newspaper, put it on the grocery store shopping carts, the park benches, buses.
We went back in the early part of my career. I was a car sales guy at a Chevy Buick GMC store, and we used to go to Michigan State football games.
Yeah.
And I used to go with this guy who'd been selling cars for years and years and years. And I always was so embarrassed because when Michigan State would score a touchdown, he would take a stack of his business cards and throw them up like confetti in the air. And then when we leave, instead of him just going to his car like everybody else, it's Michigan winner, he would go and put business cards under the windshield wiper of literally every car around him. And he would give like 1,000 business cards every game.
Yeah.
Okay. And I asked him one day on the way, I'm like, does this ever work for you?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I sell like 15 cars a month just off of these damn business cards going up into the air. And I'm like, it's wild to me that it works, but it was his way of being creative and thinking outside of the box. And I've never seen anybody do anything like that, but it works. And so when you say be creative and play to your strengths, I think that one of the things that business owners, it's weird. We're in this weird generational thing where the boomers had their set way of doing things, right?
Yep.
And they're still not letting go. These people are still in. If you're a boomer and listening to this, we're proud of you, because most boomers don't want to listen to nobody for nothing.
Yeah.
They're just in their business, right? The problem is nobody wants a piece of their business because they've become solopreneurs and they've driven their kids out of their business.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the M&A that I see happening is either them trying to sell their business with they are the business, or it's because nobody in their family wants it.
Yeah.
Then we've got the Gen Xers who have always been very reticent to ever mess with anything that's going on with their parents. They don't like the millennials. They don't like the boomers. They're not really all that fun to be around.
Sorry, brother.
It's just, they're just not. They're very grumpy. They're the grumpy generation.
Yeah.
And then the millennials. And I got to tell you, I feel like the millennials have really kind of evolved in a way that I think is much more positive than I expected.
But we've been through so much chaos.
We have been through straight, pure chaos.
We've been through 6 lifetimes and we're in our 30s. Like
100%. And so when I look at how we work, there's 50,000 real estate agents. To set that distinction, we have to be creative.
Yeah.
There's a million business coaches out there. There's a million of everything we do out there. And for us to exude the greatness that we want to emulate, we have to put the action and activity behind it. Yeah. And sometimes that's different than what it looks like for somebody else. So got just a couple minutes left. What's your biggest professional failure and how did you overcome it?
I haven't.
You haven't overcome it?
No, I haven't failed.
Oh.
No. No.
So my house is sold.
No, I haven't failed that. I haven't failed that one yet. No, I wouldn't necessarily say that I've had like big failures. I've had like lessons learned
Okay, give me the biggest lesson.
throughout time. Biggest lesson is you can't slow down. Like, just because things are going well doesn't mean you can stop your marketing, you can stop your networking. Like, I've been very lucky. And I say lucky, there is some luck to it, but I do know there's hard work to it. I've been very lucky. The first like 3 years of my career, I had fabulous years and they were up, up, up. And then the market turned and it got really, really difficult, but I was still kind of trending upward. And I got it in my head that like and I had some family things going on too. So there was extenuating circumstances that like I had 1 year that was down because I had kind of backed off of the networking and backed off of the marketing to make space and time for these other things in my life that were happening. And so I wouldn't consider it a failure. It was a lesson that it was okay. Yes, you're going to have down years. Yes, there are, especially in real estate, it's a shifting market all the time. But if you want to keep it going in an upward trajectory, ooh, that's a hard word. You can't let off the gas, like at all.
Yeah, I love that. I think that is a really great nugget. Things don't happen to us, they happen because of us, both good and bad.
Yeah.
And taking that kind of accountability and discipline and being willing to take the lessons, you call them lessons, I call them failures. We're speaking the same language.
Yeah.
I think that the only way to continue to grow is to accept them, take the punch in the mouth, right? Mike Tyson said it best. Everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
And in business, whether it's real estate, whether it's business coaching or whatever the trades are, we're all going to get punched in the mouth at one point, and it's how we respond and how we fight back and how we rebound. I'm really thankful that you joined our podcast. We appreciate it.
I'm glad. Thank you.
No problem. And if you enjoy our content, please like us, share us, follow us. We are with Level Up with Lydia. She just distracted me. This is her fault. It was a perfect exit until she ruined it. But she's really enjoying making fun of me this entire episode, and we're not cutting this out, okay? Lydia is the weapon of mass distraction.
Yes.
But no, you've been watching the Level Up with Lydia podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Like us, share us, please, please, please. LinkedIn, Meta, both Facebook and Instagram, Lydia. Not just Instagram. Some of us people still are on Facebook occasionally. You can find us on Spotify and you can find us on YouTube. And now we are on Apple. So we are very excited that we are growing. And if you want to hear a specific topic, if you want to hear from somebody specific, send us recommendations. And if you want to be a guest host, please reach out. And thanks for joining Level Up with Lydia.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up.